Okay, so we're going to dive into something that might sound, I don't know, maybe a little bit more corporate retreat than thrilling podcast.
Great.
Talking about human capital management. But trust me, whether you're in HR, you're leading a team, or you're just curious about what makes companies tick, understanding this stuff, HCM can seriously change how you think about work
Totally.
and maybe even give you an edge.
Yeah. You know, when a company just seems to be humming, right? Like
Uh,
they're innovating, they're attracting all the best talent.
Mm-hmm.
That's often HCM working its magic
Yeah.
behind the
I
scenes.
knew there had to be some magic involved
Yeah.
somewhere. But, okay, let's define this thing. One of the articles I was reading actually pointed out that even the experts don't always agree on one single definition of what HCM is.
Yeah, that's true. There isn't like this universally agreed upon definition,
Yeah.
but I actually think that makes it kind of interesting. We get
Yeah.
to, peel back the layers and really see what's at the core here.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the core of HCM is about looking at your people as assets, as human capital that contributes to growth, just like any other asset a company might have.
Okay, so instead of just thinking employees, departments, we're thinking about the talent, the potential of everyone together.
Exactly.
But how is that different from what we traditionally think of as, HR, like human resources, HRM?
That's the key difference. Think of it this way. HRM is tending to your garden,
Okay.
making sure everything's watered, weeded, growing the way it should. HCM is stepping back and deciding, okay, what are we even planting?
Right.
Where should we plant it?
Mm.
And how do we cultivate this whole thriving ecosystem that's going to produce amazing results year after year?
So HRM is keeping the lights on. HEM is designing the entire power grid.
Exactly. It's about aligning your people strategy with your overall goals for lasting success.
That makes a lot of sense. One of the articles I was looking at actually called out that lack of clarity between HRM and HCM as kind of a challenge for companies who are trying to adopt this approach. Oh, absolutely. Without that shared understanding of what HCM really is, it's easy to just get stuck in the day-to-day of HR tasks, and you totally miss that bigger picture. That's why it's so important to, break down what makes HCM unique, how it translates into action.
Let's break it down. First up, program-centric approach.
Okay.
Even, I gotta say, that sounds a little jargony.
To clarify, it just means instead of focusing on individual tasks or how efficient one department is, HCM zooms out to company-wide initiatives that are directly tied to your strategic goals.
Yeah.
It's about connecting the dots between, your people practices and those big picture objectives.
So less about how do we optimize this one process and more about what kind of talent, what kind of culture do we need in place to achieve these really ambitious goals as a company?
Yeah, exactly. Think about it this way. A company wants to become a leader in innovation, right?
Okay.
A traditional HRM approach might just focus on, okay, how do we optimize our recruiting to find more engineers?
Fill those roles.
Mm.
Exactly. Fill those open positions as quickly as possible,
Yeah.
which is important. But HCM goes deeper. They would ask, what kind of environment really fosters innovation?
Mm.
How do we attract and keep not just any engineers, but the ones who really want to push boundaries?
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to rethink things like how we reward people, how we develop leaders, even our physical workspace
Interesting.
to cultivate that creativity, that collaboration?
So taking that big, hairy, audacious goal, we want to be an innovation powerhouse, and saying, okay, how does everything we do with our people support that?
Yes,
That's a pretty big mindset shift.
it is. And that's why understanding HCM is so powerful. It helps you see how all these different parts of an organization are connected
Yeah,
and how they can work together to do some really incredible things.
I'm starting to get it now. This is way more than just like a trendy HR buzzword. Okay, let's move on to the next attribute here, interconnectedness and systems thinking. So what does that mean in terms of HCM?
It means recognizing that different parts of a company, they're not isolated.
Mm.
You know, what happens in one area is going to impact the others, especially when you're talking about people and the culture.
Right, so you can't just like change the performance review system without thinking about how that's going to affect morale or how teams work together or even just how people approach their work every day, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
A perfect example is implementing something like Six Sigma.
Six Sigma, okay.
That's a process improvement method that's all about eliminating defects and making things more efficient. Now imagine a company's like, all right, we're doing Six Sigma to improve things. An HRM approach might just be, okay, we're going to train everybody on the Six Sigma methodology and hope for the best. But HCM would take a broader view.
So not just throwing a training manual at people and saying, go forth and be efficient.
Exactly. They would ask, okay, does our culture actually support this Six Sigma mindset?
Interesting.
Do our compensation structures incentivize people to work in this new way, this more structured way?
Yeah.
Do we even have the right people? Or do we need to upskill them or even find new people with these specific skills?
That's a really good point. You can have, the most efficient process in the world, on paper at least.
Yes.
But if it doesn't fit with how your people actually work, it's not going to work.
100%. HCM recognizes that people are at the heart of every process, every system. So when you're making changes, you have to consider the human element, not just the technical stuff.
Okay, I see. It's all starting to click now. So HCM is like the connector, making sure everything from the company culture to how we improve processes to individual goals, it's all working together, looking at the big picture, not just getting lost in the weeds of individual tasks or departments. I'm starting to see the value here, and not just for HR. This is for leaders. This is for anyone who wants to know how to make their workplace more effective, more fulfilling. So what other HCM secrets do you have for us?
Yeah, and that brings us to another really important part of HCM. It's focus on measuring ROI, return on investment, for strategic impact.
Okay, I have to admit, when I hear ROI, my brain goes straight to, I don't know, spreadsheets and financial reports.
Sure.
But I'm guessing it's more than that when we're talking about HCM.
You're right. It's not just about the numbers themselves.
Right.
It's about using those numbers to tell a story
Okay.
about how investing in your people is good for business.
Yeah.
Gets real results.
So instead of just saying okay, this many employees finished this training course,
Right.
we're looking at how did that training actually help our bottom line?
Exactly. Let's say, for example, a company spends a lot of money on leadership development programs, right, for their high potential employees.
Okay.
An HCM approach wouldn't just measure, how satisfied those employees were with the program or even how many new skills they picked up.
Right.
They would go deeper and look at the impact on things like team performance. Did they innovate more? Did we keep more customers? Things like that.
So asking questions like, okay, did these teams with these newly trained leaders, did they sell more? Did they come up with more creative solutions? Did our customers love them even more?
Exactly. You're connecting the dots between the things you're doing for your people and the things that really matter to the business.
I like it.
And when you can show that ROI, that return on investment, it's a lot easier to get people on board to invest even more in your people in the future.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you can say, look, we put X amount of dollars into this and it resulted in, this many more dollars in revenue.
Right.
That's a lot more persuasive than, everyone who took the training gave it a thumbs up.
Exactly. And that data-driven approach, that's HCM in a nutshell.
Okay.
It lets you make a really strong business case for why prioritizing your people is not just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do.
So it's about moving past just those, kind of soft metrics and saying, no, look, this is the real value of investing in our people.
Yes. And that leads us to another key attribute of HCM, which is its focus on driving strategic performance, not just operational performance.
Okay, I'm curious. What's the difference? Strategic versus operational performance.
So think of it this way. Operational performance is about doing things right. It's about efficiency. It's about streamlining, hitting our daily targets, that sort of thing.
Right.
Strategic performance is about doing the right things.
So less about are we checking all the boxes and more like, are we moving in the right direction as a company?
You got it. It's about making sure all those operational things actually line up with the big picture, the long-term goals.
Got it.
The things that determine a company's success in the long run.
Can you give me an example of what that looks like in action?
Sure. Let's say a company wants to be known for having amazing customer service, right?
Okay, yeah.
An operational approach might be, okay, let's implement some new scripts for our customer service reps. Let's get a fancy new CRM system.
Mm-hmm.
Let's track how many calls they answer every hour.
Okay, all important, but
Yeah.
maybe missing something.
An HCM approach would take a step back and ask, what kind of culture do we need to actually deliver that exceptional customer service?
Okay.
How do we empower our employees to go above and beyond? Do we need to rethink who we hire, how we train them, even our leadership style to make sure everyone's focused on the customer?
So it's about making it part of who they are, not just what they're told to do.
Exactly. And that's where HCM shines. It gets that true strategic performance. It comes from really understanding your people, what motivates them, what they're capable of.
This is making me think of that quote. I think it's often attributed to Peter Drucker. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. You can have the most amazing strategy in the world, but if your culture doesn't support it, you're not going to get very far.
Right. And HCM gives you the framework to align your culture, how you work with your people, and your goals to make them all work together.
It's powerful stuff.
Oh.
Okay, I'm ready for that last HCM superpower. What is it?
This one might surprise you. It's about focusing on growing revenue, more than cutting costs.
Oh, really? That's an interesting one. I can already hear some executives saying, hold on, isn't saving money a key part of success?
Of course, managing costs is important, but HCM gets that sometimes you have to spend money to make money.
Right.
And your people are often the best investment you can make.
It's about the long game, right? So investing in your people, it might not save you money today or tomorrow.
Right.
But over time, it could lead to more innovation, people getting more done, and ultimately, more money for the company.
Exactly. Imagine a company that's always cutting costs, especially things like training, benefits, even salaries.
Mm.
What kind of message does that send to their employees?
Probably not a very good one. Like, nobody wants to feel like they're easily replaceable.
Right. Now think about a company that prioritizes investing in its people. They offer good salaries, benefits, they give people chances to grow professionally, and they build a culture where everyone feels valued and appreciated.
Hmm.
Which company do you think is going to attract the best people?
Definitely the second one.
Right. Which company is going to be more innovative, more successful in the long run?
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. The one that invests in its people.
Exactly. And that's what HCM is all about. It's about understanding that your people are your greatest asset. And putting your money where your mouth is, investing in them, is an investment in your future.
It's like, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago.
Right.
The second best time is today. So investing in your people, it might not have immediate, results, but it's what you got to do for that long-term growth.
Yeah, it really is. It's about moving away from thinking about what we don't have to thinking about what we could have.
Oh,
When you really believe in your people and you're willing to invest in them, amazing things are possible.
so we've talked about a lot here, what HCMM is, all these different key parts of it, but let's
Yeah.
bring it back to our listeners for a second. What should they be taking away from all this? What's the main thing you want them to remember from this deep dive?
I think the most important thing is that HCM, it's not just an HR thing. It's important for the whole business.
Right.
It's about recognizing that your people are your most valuable asset. And if you want to be successful in today's world,
Mm-hmm.
you have to make sure your people strategy and your business strategy are aligned.
It's about getting out of our own little silos and having a more, holistic approach to managing what matters most, the people.
Exactly. And everyone in the company plays a role in that, not just the HR team.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you're the CEO, a manager, or just part of a team.
Yeah.
Understanding HCM can help you make better decisions, build stronger teams, and create a better workplace.
A place where everyone feels valued, empowered, like they
Yeah.
want to, do their best work.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So as we're wrapping up this deep dive into human capital management, I have one last question, something for our listeners to think about. Think about, what you have control over at work, whether you lead a team, you're working on a project, or even just how you interact with your coworkers every day.
Yeah.
What's one small thing you can do differently
Okay.
to start using these HCM principles, in your own work, your own interactions? Maybe it's talking to your team about everyone's strengths and how you can all use them better.
Right.
Or maybe it's, suggesting a new training program to help your coworkers learn new skills.
Those are great examples. Even small changes can make a difference.
Because at the end of the day, HCM isn't about, these big sweeping things or complicated systems. It's about recognizing that human potential is important
Yes.
and creating the right environment for it to, really flourish.
I love that.
And that's something we can all do no matter what our job is or how much, influence we have.
Well said. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.